Everyone, boys and girls, mummies and daddies. We today are going to read a lovely book called Soar. Now, have you ever had mixed emotions, been a bit anxious about moving on, doing something that you don't feel so happy to do? Now, this book is about Ramone, a hummingbird, and he's watching all his friends flying off, and he's feeling anxious because he's trying to contemplate, can he do the same? Can he move on? And maybe this book is going to help you take one step further towards doing something that means a lot to you. And with his experience and with his working through the matter of what he's had to do and letting him set his own pace, maybe that will help you with something that you really want to truly do. So we're going to read this book together now. Shall we begin? Ramone Ruby throat has a big day ahead, so his mum wakes him up from his nice, cosy bed. Fluff up your feathers and learn how to fly. We need to find food, so let's take to the sky. He's a little bit scared, can you see in the picture, and he doesn't really want to wake up, and his mum is waking him up and saying, come on, we've got to get going. Before he takes flight through the crisp morning air, Ramone needs a minute to relax and prepare. Today's the first day he will soar in the breeze. Will his wings work, or will he drop through the trees? Wishing this duty didn't cause him such stress, he wonders, how can I get out of this mess? Ramone understands that all hummers must fly, but must it be done in the air quite so high? He's a bird and he's scared, isn't he? Shall we see what happens? Ramone's mum sees he's not ready to soar, so she perches and waits on a branch by the door. Quietly she hums, "What's the matter, Ramone?" He looks at her shyly and tries not to groan. My belly, it hurts, and my wings, they are bent. My beak really aches, and my feet, they are spent. I don't think today is the best day to start. I'll feel better tomorrow, cross my heart. Ramone shuffles his feet back towards his nest, hoping his mum will let him lie there and rest. As he snuggles back into his cosy, warm bed, daydreams of flying play out in his head. He's very scared, isn't he? All the pictures, can you see? He's thinking about how will he fly, which way will he go, what will he do? It's a lot of worrying. It's not worth worrying, is it? Shall we see what happens now? Flying toward flowers with vibrant red petals, wings flapping quickly to skip those with nettles. Swooping and swirling with friends in the sky, Ramone hangs his head and lets out a big sigh. He's anticipating everything that's going to happen. Wishing so hard for these dreams to come true, Ramone worries he won't know what to do. Deep down he knows he's not ready at all. Ramone hollers out, I am going to fall. From his mum's wooden perch, she sees Ramone's fear. As she flits to his side, she lends him her ear. Ramone, Mummy's here now. Tell me what's wrong. He whimpers, I'm afraid that I might not be strong. Don't worry, she says, as she gives him a hug. Just watch as I swoop down and snap up that bug. Ramone watches her dart through the flyers below, amazed by his peers as they put on their show. So he's watching everything happen, isn't he, from his cosy bed. He's watching them swoop down and get all the different flies and come up again. As he looks closer from high above ground, he sees hummers swooping and soaring around. Their laughter and giggles float up to his ears, and he grasps that there really is nothing to fear. After a while, Ramone changes his stance. He grows more intense and thinks, "This is my chance." Opening his wings as the wind picks up pace, Ramone sees the pride on his mother's bright face. "You can do it, my son," his mother calls out, giving him a big smile before he can doubt. Ramone's knees shake and start to feel weak, but instead of stopping, he sticks out his beak. Pushing his body up into the sky, Ramone thinks to himself, "Let's give this a try." His wings quickly pump as he darts through the air. His mum flies beside him and yells, "What a pair!" Yippee, he's flying. Isn't that wonderful? Is that how you feel when you do something you sometimes don't think you can do? Should we carry on? He's flying everywhere. Look how happy he is. Ramone smiles at his mum, letting go of his dread, and thinks to himself, "Glad I got out of bed." Soon he spies flowers with nectar so sweet, and slows to a hover to guzzle the treat. As he finishes up, Mum hums in his ear, "I understand why you had all of that fear. I was scared too on my first day of flying, but I was more scared of not even trying." Ramone stretches his wings and takes off in flight, shouting out as he soars, "Mum, I see you were right." Ramone now flies like he's in a big hurry, so glad in his heart that he conquered his worry. Hello boys and girls, welcome back to another great story on Fun Story Factory. Hope you're enjoying all the lovely read-alongs. Write and tell me which ones you're enjoying. And now we're going to start a new story. It's called Magic Nana and the Dragon Telescope, and it's written by Gareth Edwards. Are you ready? Are you watching? Shall we begin? I love magic books. Kirrilly loved it when she went with her family to visit Nana and Grandad. They didn't live very far away, so the journey never took very long, and Kirrilly spent the whole time thinking about what fun she would get up to when they got there. Nana and Grandad's kitchen always smelt really good because Grandad baked the most delicious cakes, muffins, pies and tarts. Their home had a lovely garden filled with plants and trees and even a pond. There were always lots of birds, butterflies and insects busying about. There were also many little coves and secret hiding places where Kirrilly could sneak off to and explore if she wanted. Can you see her eating the biscuits? And can you see her hiding? I can. She especially enjoyed sitting and watching the pond, though, and if she sat really still, she could spot frogs and toads, as well as her favourite insects, dragonflies. She loved dragonflies. They always darted around so quickly and shone with such brilliantly bright colours, and they had the word dragon in their name. Kirrilly wondered if they were named after actual, real dragons. Who can spot the frog sitting on a lily pad? Do you want to point to it? Well done. The very best thing about visiting Nana and Grandad, though, was a secret that only she knew. Nobody else in her family knew, and Kirrilly thought that maybe even Grandad didn't know. It was a really special secret. The secret was her Nana was magic. She had once told her mum and dad about Nana's magic, but they didn't believe her so now she didn't tell anybody. When they arrived at Nana and Grandad's house, the familiar smell of baking wafted out of the kitchen to greet them, followed by Grandad. He was wearing an apron that was covered with flour and cake mix. He ran straight to the car and picked Kirrilly up to give her a huge hug, and as he put her down, he noticed that they were now both covered in flour. "Where's Nana?" Kirrilly asked. Grandad smiled and said, "She's pottering about in her workshop. Run and find her if you like. She'll be happy to see you." With that, Kirrilly ran off, heading down to the bottom of the garden and Nana's workshop. Kirrilly used to think that Nana's workshop was actually just a shed, and when she had asked her about it, Nana told her that sheds are places where people store things, but workshops are where people make things. Nana said that in a workshop you can take some things that are not in themselves very special and put them together in just the right way to make something useful or fun, or sometimes even magic. Kirrilly had laughed when Nana had first told her about magic. She didn't laugh anymore though, because now she knew that the magic was real. As Kirrilly got near to Nana's workshop, she shouted out their secret call so that Nana knew who was approaching. "Cooey!" From inside the workshop, Kirrilly heard a "Cooey!" called back, followed by, "Hello, Kirrilly, quick, come and see this." Nana was working on something that looked very complicated. There were lots of tiny pieces laid all over her workbench. Some of the things were shiny and gold, and some were dirty and oily. Kirrilly spotted what looked like a tiny, round mirror. "What is it, Nana?" "It's an old telescope," Nana replied. "What are you doing to it, Nana?" Kirrilly asked. She picked up a small eyepiece and raised it to her eye, and then squinted through it as she turned to face Kirrilly with her other eye shut tight. She looked quite funny. "I'm making a dragon telescope," she said with a big grin. "A dragon telescope?" Kirrilly repeated excitedly. "You mean a telescope to see dragons with?" "Yes, exactly," confirmed Nana. "There's been one flying around for the last couple of days. I'm sure of it, and I'm making this so that we can take a look at it." "Nana, dragons aren't real," Kirrilly said as she folded her arms. "Oh, really? You wait until I fix up this dragon telescope and tell me that again after you've taken a look through it," said Nana with an even bigger grin. Kirrilly looks a bit perplexed, doesn't she? A bit concerned about what's going on. Should we carry on? Kirrilly didn't think dragons were real. Then she remembered a time when Nana told her she could talk to the birds, but Kirrilly didn't believe her. Nana showed her how, and they took it in turns to whistle a tune with a blackbird in the garden. She also remembered when Nana said that there was a pack of invisible wolves who lived in a quarry and that they could howl back if she called them. Kirrilly didn't believe her, but then Nana let out a loud "Ow!" into the quarry, and they both spent an hour howling with the wolves. Kirrilly had learned that sometimes her Nana showed her that some things were real even if she didn't think they were. Have you guessed now what's happening? Myths and legends, dragons. Dragons, though. She had learnt about them in school when they'd done a project on myths and legends. She thought they were awesome, but her teacher told them that they weren't real and they were just from stories. If anybody else had told her that they were going to build a telescope to look at dragons with, she would have thought they were being silly and would have told them so. But because it was Nana who had told her this, she couldn't help but feel very excited about it. Would she really be able to see a dragon? That's what Kirrilly is thinking, isn't she? Please could you grab that spanner, Kirrilly? Nana asked as she put two large parts together. And give this nut here a good tighten if you can, while I hold this together. Kirrilly tightened where Nana pointed to till it wouldn't turn any more. Okay, now let's shine this up a bit, Nana said as she reached for a little bottle from a small shelf. Nana's shelves were full of bottles and jugs filled with different coloured liquids. Now, Kirrilly, you pour a tiny bit of this magic water onto my cloth and put the stopper back in quickly. It'll make the dragon telescope super bright and shiny. Wonder what that looks like. Wow. Kirrilly did as she was told and ever so carefully poured a tiny drop onto the cloth, then quickly put the stopper back in. She wondered what made the water magic. Nana began to rub the telescope with the cloth, and Kirrilly was amazed when it turned the dull brown colour into a shining, gleaming colour that sparkled and reflected the light almost like a mirror. Is it ready? Is it ready? Kirrilly asked as she hopped about on her feet impatiently. Yes, Nana smiled. Come on, let's go and test it out. Shall we? Yes, yes, let's, Kirrilly shrieked. As they walked out into the garden, Nana looked up into the sky and said to herself, where is it? I know it's here somewhere. Kirrilly looked up too but couldn't see anything. She looked all over the sky, but there were no dragons. Okay, we'll wait by here. I think that the dragon is going to come flying by any minute, said Nana, and with that she sat down on the grass with her legs crossed. Kirrilly sat down beside her and they waited and waited and waited. Nana, are we really going to see a dragon? Kirrilly asked. Shh, Nana said. Look. Kirrilly looked up to where Nana was pointing, but she didn't see a dragon. She could only see a black feathered bird flying by. Probably a crow, she thought. That's not a dragon, Nana, that's a crow, Kirrilly said disappointedly. Actually, Kirrilly, it's a raven. It's much bigger than a crow, and just wait until you see it through this telescope, said Nana as she handed it to Kirrilly. Kirrilly put the telescope to her eye and looked up towards the raven. To her surprise, it wasn't a raven that she saw through the telescope, but a huge golden dragon. Nana, Nana, it is a dragon. I can see it. It is huge and golden. Oh, wow, Kirrilly said excitedly. Quick, you take a look. She passed the telescope over to Nana, who raised it to her eye and said, Yep, I thought so. It is a big golden one. Wow, what a beauty. Off it goes. Kirrilly looked up into the sky, but couldn't see anything now, not even the raven. Where is it? She asked. It's gone now, replied Nana. They never hang around for very long. We were really very lucky to see it at all. I want to see it again. Was it real, Nana? Is it magic? Asked Kirrilly. With that, Nana looked at Kirrilly with a little smile and a twinkle in her eye and said, Kirrilly, my dear, your imagination is the most magical thing there is. With it, anything you want can be real. Always remember that. Kirrilly smiled back at Nana and giving her a big hug, she said, Thanks for showing me the dragon, Nana. And she's hugging her Nana, isn't she? Oh, do you know what? And there's a lovely picture of the dragon that she saw. Isn't that a lovely book? It's all about make-believe, but also it's about having fun with your Nana and believing in what you want to believe in. Let's meet again soon on Fun Story Factory for another story and maybe another magic story. Bye-bye for now.